All right, so I think this is going to be a fun topic, but before I dive in, let me take a quick sip of my Coke Zero. And I have to say, I'm not a doctor. I am not your doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I have no medical background whatsoever. Okay, so just listen to what I'm saying and do not take it as medical advice. So 200 milligrams of test a week versus a natural. And I don't want to keep you guys waiting on the answer. I'm going to really dive into it, but let me tell you, if you have gotten prescribed 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, you are very lucky, okay? You're at super physiological amounts of testosterone. And I know you might be thinking, hey man, I get my blood work done. It doesn't show that I'm at a total testosterone of over 1100. What are you talking about? Well, here's the thing, okay? When you inject a long-acting testosterone, you're going to basically have a peak that happens, okay? That peak happens anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours. So you inject it and you're basically going up, 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 up. It is a steep hill until you climb to the top. Now, when you're at the top, you go straight down. So it's straight up, straight down. And when you start free falling from the peak, that's typically going to happen around the 3 to 4 day mark. In between 3 and 4 days, you're going to, have a steep decline. So it really depends on when you get your blood measured. I can guarantee you, if you get your blood measured at the absolute peak of that injection, you are going to be above the natural limits, 100%. 200 milligrams at once is a lot of testosterone, not compared to a cycle, but when you compare it to a natural, putting that much exogenous testosterone into your body at once is super physiological. Your body could not produce anywhere close to 200 milligrams of exogenous testosterone. Now, the reason why you are a superhuman, even at TRT dosages of 200 milligrams a week, is because it doesn't matter what you do. You can be an alcoholic. You can be a couch potato that doesn't work out. You could be a guy that gets 3 hours of sleep a night. You could be under a tremendous amount of stress. You could be a partier. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you do. You are still going to maintain high optimal testosterone levels, okay? Now, if you are partying, your diet is crap, you're not sleeping, you're under a tremendous amount of stress, you're a couch potato, you don't really work out hard, chances are your testosterone is going to be in the dumps, okay? That's why most people that get diagnosed with low T are typically, unhealthy people. So regardless of what you do, you can maintain high levels of testosterone. Now, if you want to even become a bigger physiological freak when it comes to testosterone replacement therapy, you should increase your frequency of injection. So instead of doing 200 milligrams of testosterone once a week, going through that huge climb and then going down and kind of flattening out and then going on a gradual decline, you're going to be much better off avoiding that decline by doing 100 milligrams, say on Monday, and then 100 milligrams on Thursday. That way, as you're going down on the peak, you're going to disrupt that peak and climb your way back up. Now, if you're looking to be the most healthiest person you can be while on TRT, you might not want to always be in that super physiological range and always be on the way up. That recommendation is for people that want to maintain super physiological levels of testosterone. And like I said before, even if you do inject 200 milligrams once a week, you are still a superhuman. Now, if you are doing 200 milligrams once a week, you go through the peak and then you come down and you're just on a steady level. That steady level is going to be very beneficial to you versus the natural, because a natural person, their testosterone is not just going to be at a steady state all the time. So let's say you hit the peak, you come down, and now you're on a gradual level, slowly declining until your next injection. If that steady level is at, say, 800 or 900 of total testosterone, and you're just staying at that level all the time, you have a major advantage on somebody that's natural, because somebody that's not natural is not going to have testosterone that is just leveled out like that. Okay, they're going to be like all over the place. One day they could be 900, the next day they could be 400. 1 hour they could be 800, and 2 hours they could be, you see what I'm saying? So a natural person is not going to experience that constant blood level of testosterone. So you have two options, and that's, like I said, increase the frequency of your injections if you want to be a super freak, or if you I don't even want to say super freak, because most bodybuilders are going to laugh at 200 milligrams. But I should say, if you want to be super physiological, you should increase your injections. But even if you don't, like I said, you're going to have a major advantage. Stable testosterone all the time, regardless. And you got to think about it too, man. I mean, these guys, these mass monsters that come off these big cycles, and they're taking 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, and they're maintaining the majority of their size. Obviously, they're going to lose, 30 to 40% of their gains. But you got to think about it like this. If somebody's taking 6 different drugs and they're able to come off and keep 60 to 70% of their gains on 200 milligrams a week, it just really shows how powerful 200 milligrams of exogenous testosterone is a week. You can even look at guys like Greg Doucette, who I'm a huge fan of. He is on 150 milligrams right now of TRT, and the dude is just completely shredded. I mean, he's kept a huge amount of mass for somebody taking that amount. And I mean, even at 100 milligrams a week, I still would argue that you are at a big advantage versus a person who is natural. And like I said before, you might be thinking 100 milligrams, now that's just ridiculous. Again, even if somebody gets measured and they have a total testosterone of 900, they could have just had, a day where they're just freaking high. Not high mentally, but their testosterone's high. It doesn't mean that their testosterone is always 900. Okay, maybe they didn't masturbate for a week, because studies have shown that you can double your testosterone in a week by not masturbating, and then, after that first week, it's worthless. So you drop back to normal level. I know it's kind of tricky because you can't take somebody always at face value, and you can't always trust what people say, but I think this person is an honest individual, and if he was taking more of what he claims, he would be honest about it, and that's Vitaly. If you look at the famous prankster Vitaly, he's been on 300 milligrams of testosterone a week for a few years, and I think he said an IU or 2 IUs of GH few years. If you look at his physique, very full, very cut. I don't think that, there are super freaks out there that could get that type of physique naturally, but just the amount of roundness and fullness that he has, being lean, under 10% body fat, that's not something that a natural, I would say 98% of naturals could ever achieve. And 300 milligrams, for those of you that don't know, that is past the hormone replacement level. That is a mini cycle. So Vitaly basically lives on a mini cycle of testosterone with 2 IUs of GH, which is 2 IUs of GH is very high too. So for somebody that's his age, you know, if you're like 80 something years old, it's one thing, but if you're in your 20s taking 2 IUs of GH, that's pretty high. But it just shows like this guy can achieve a lean, round, full physique on only 300 milligrams of testosterone and GH. And it just goes to show that you don't need to megadose and abuse and be on all these crazy cycles and putting your body through hell. It's just like people, when it comes to anabolics, they get this mindset of like, I need to do the biggest cycle possible, and then the next one's even bigger, and the next one's even bigger. And it's like you have to be patient, and you have to set yourself up to prosper long term. So it's like when naturals train, they have this mentality that, you know, every year it's a slow grind. So when naturals are training and dieting, they have the mentality that it's a lifelong grind. Like every year I'm going to get better, but it's like people lose that mentality when they get on anabolics, and it's like they'll do a 12-week cycle and they're like, oh, well, you know, 1,500 milligrams of test didn't do it, and all this D-ball and DECA and all the things that they took. Their mentality is like, I didn't achieve the physique that I wanted to in 12 weeks. So the next cycle has to be bigger, and the next cycle has to be bigger. And they're getting crazy with it, and they're completely losing the longevity aspect of bodybuilding and training. And I think that's a good thing about somebody like Vitaly, even though he's living on a mini cycle. He understands that he's not going to get anywhere by abusing this crap and just constantly setting up for the next biggest cycle. And it's like, where does it end? Where does it end? I hear these crazy cycles and it blows my mind. And I think that's the way to do it, man. The smallest amount is always going to win. You know, take the smallest amount possible, do a little more if you need to the next time, do a little more if you need to the next time, but don't have this mentality of, man, I gotta, like, if I don't achieve a Hulk-like physique in 12 weeks, I need to go on some freak stack. And to wrap this video up, I want to say that 200 milligrams a week of testosterone is in the medical range of prescribing, but I just want to point out that this is for the people who are hypogonadal. They don't absorb the testosterone very well. I mean, it's for very, very severe cases of people that need, God, this freaking gnat. It's for very, very severe cases of people that need higher dosages. So just because 200 milligrams a week is in the medical journals does not mean that it's not a super high dosage when you're comparing it to a natural. So don't think that just because like a doctor prescribed it that it's not going to be beneficial. Anybody on 200 milligrams of testosterone a week, and even better if you can throw in an IU or two of GH at night, which a lot of TRT clinics will do, you're going to be at a massive advantage to a natural lifter. And, you know, like I said, man, unless you're just trying to be like a pro bodybuilder or some super freak Hulk, I mean, how much do you really need? And that's kind of the point of this video, is like, there's no need to get crazy with this stuff, guys. So that's all I got to say today. Fun little topic. Go Astros, and please subscribe. Please subscribe. Don't just watch this video and go off into the universe of YouTube. Subscribe.